Okay, we want to welcome everyone tonight to our Redox Nurse Talk. And this is a platform that Doria and I use to share this technology with people and just to share it with the world. So we appreciate you coming and we hope you can learn something. So tonight we have a very special guest. And this month we are focusing a little bit more on the business side of SIA, but we will have testimonials as well as products sometimes too. So this will be I think we'll learn a lot from Marco. We've talked about a lot of our younger millennials getting into the business and really doing some awesome work. So I'm excited to hear his story, and we will hear from him in a little bit, and we will also have a time for questions and answers at the end. So I wanted to give the disclaimer first that redox signaling molecules do not diagnose, treat, or cure any disease. They just give the body what it needs to help itself heal by increasing that cellular communication. We also want to do a few housekeeping rules. So if you're going to be walking around, just turn your camera off so it won't be distracting for the speaker, and just stay muted until we finish at the end, and then we'll have time for questions and answers. So I will start and tell you a little bit about myself, then I'll turn it over to Doria, and then we'll go from there back and forth a little bit. Doria is my co-host. Doria Stewart is from Atlanta, and so this was kind of a partnership that we've kind of gotten going, and we're learning as we go. But I'm a nurse from Nashville, Tennessee. At the moment, I'm a hospice nurse, so I do see on the side, but my passion is to get there full time, and it's definitely doable. So we just keep growing and taking those baby steps. When I was introduced to this, I was having some health challenges, and I'm always looking for more of a natural alternative way. So this was exactly what I was looking for. And at the moment, I'm not having any issues, any symptoms or anything, and no medication, no prescription medications at all. So, and I'm really passionate about what this does and the fact that as a nurse, I can actually touch more people's lives with this product than I ever could just in the field of nursing alone. So this is opening up major opportunities, and we're hearing more and more testimonials. So I'm going to turn it over to my co-host Doria and let her introduce herself. Doria?
Yes, so thank you, Cindy. So yes, I'm Doria Stewart. I live in Atlanta, Georgia. And I have been part of this awesome company, this technology for about 4 years. And this was brought to me by a very dear friend who is a dentist, a renowned dentist in my area. And he knew I was open to things of all kinds of health modalities. And so when he said, "Hey, would you like to take a look at this?" And I said, sure. And because I trusted him. So, what I loved about it, it's non-toxic, works at the cellular level. And, we have 72 trillion cells in our body. And, these molecules are all about communication and messaging. So I was really intrigued by it. I, did my due diligence like most of us do, but I, decided to go ahead and go on the product. But, I didn't have any health challenges. But, needless to say, when I did start on it, I realized I started feeling better. So I didn't realize I felt bad to begin with. But I also looked at this for retirement because I will be 67 tomorrow. I am still currently working as a nurse. And at the time I started, I thought, well, this would be a great way for me to segue, share this technology, to people and make some extra income, and not only income like trading dollars for hours, but making residual income that would, would last. So in retirement, unfortunately, retirement in a hospital, when you retire from that, in an institution like that, or any company or corporation, our pension is very little. And so this has given me the means to be able to have a little bit more to be able to do the things that I enjoy. So thanks, Cindy.
Now we're going to show just a very short video explaining the technology. And after that, we will have Marco will actually be our guest speaker, Marco Ricchiuti. So we will turn it over to him when we finish the video. Hold on one moment. Let me share my screen.
Hi, my name is Dr. David Silverman. I live just outside of Washington, D.C. My background is podiatry and foot surgery. I don't practice anymore. I'm shooting this very, very brief video about something that's extremely important, and it is truly going to be important for you or someone who you love, literally. It's something that you are going to know about very soon. It's a breakthrough, and as with all breakthroughs, they all sound too good to be true until someone finds out about it. And there was an article in the Huffington Post in 2016 about this breakthrough. And it is this. It's a product called ASEA Redox. And this video that I'm shooting, I'm not explaining what this is. I shot a video called whyitspossible.com. You can look at that if you want to understand what it is. The purpose of this video is to make you listen, hopefully listen to the person who's bringing it to you and say, can you please tell me more about this? I was introduced to it 8 years ago. My friend brought it to me, as your friend is bringing it to you. And the only reason I took the time to look at it was for my father. It wasn't for me. I'll tell you the reasons why people do look at this for different reasons. But for me, it was my father. He had a very grave issue. And he was told he had an issue that people are told they have in different parts of their body, whether it's their lung or their prostate or their bone. And so I was intrigued to know more about this. This is not a drug, okay? There's no toxicity to it. You can't be allergic to it. It doesn't interfere with any other things that you're doing for your health. It has created its own category. And so this is as I say, a breakthrough. And there are two products that I'm going to just talk to you about here. One is the drink version of this Redox. It's called Redox Signaling Molecules. The company is ASEA, A-S-E-A, and Renew 28, which is the topical version. After you hear the reasons why people take the time to look at this, and if you think it's too good to be true, when you take the gel, try this on 10 people who are hurting. Find 10 people who are hurting in their back, their neck, their knee, wherever, and ask them to rate their discomfort on a scale of 1 to 10. Have them give you 10 minutes, have them shake up the gel and apply it. And this is marketed for wrinkles and cellulite. It works. But have them apply this to the area that's hurting them 3 times in 5 minutes. And at the 10th minute, ask them how they're feeling. And you be the judge. You watch what happens. But that's a quick way to validate what I'm going to tell you here and the reasons why you might be looking at this. The first reason people look at this is because they have a health issue themselves. You may say, well, this sounds too good to be true, but I have a problem with my liver. I have a problem with my blood sugar. I have a problem with sleeping. I have a problem with my mood. I have a problem with my lung. So you're looking to see maybe this product can help you. That's reason number 1 of the 6 reasons why people take the time to look at this and not dismiss it. The second reason was my reason. Maybe you love somebody who's ill, your mother, your father, your child, and you think, God, I can't take the chance of dismissing this and then find out later that it could have helped someone I love who may not even be here by the time you look at this because you didn't look at it now. So maybe that's the reason. The third reason is the anti-aging benefits. This product, what this does for the skin, proven what it does for wrinkles and skin elasticity and even cellulite. It's a cellular health, a cellular level of benefit. This does the same thing for the cells on the inside of the body. But maybe you're not interested in sleeping better, or you don't believe the other things you're hearing about this product. Maybe you just want to look younger. That's fine. We just want you to come in this amazing room of Redox that has so many benefits. And if it's the wrinkles you want to get rid of that gets you in the door, and then you look at this later, that's fine. The fourth reason is people who want to protect their health. One of the things we notice is that people are generally healthier when they're younger. As we age, we get less healthy. We don't heal as quickly. Well, the fact is, what's in this is in you. It's in us. We produce more of it when we're younger. When we're young, we produce a lot of these redox molecules. As we age, we produce less and less and less and less. They found a way to make it outside the body, safe as water, and you're raising the levels back up in your body. And so it's pretty cool to see the changes that happen. So maybe you just want to protect your health. The fifth reason is athletic performance. Athletes run much faster and further. We have Olympic gold medalists on this product. You can go to ASEAathletes.co and you can see that. And the sixth reason is not the driver for most people. And it wasn't for me, but I looked at reason number 6 afterwards, after I saw what the product did. There's an opportunity created by this. A pharmaceutical company tried to buy this product and technology and the patents, and the founders said no, they were afraid they were going to bury it. At that point, in 2007, they decided to bring it to a market a different way. In 2009, this became an opportunity. For anybody who is struggling or settling, financially, time freedom wise, life satisfaction wise. People go through life calling Wednesday hump day. That's life satisfaction. There's an opportunity here. Get with the person who introduced this to you. Get your questions answered about this breakthrough. And if you're interested in the opportunity now, tell them. If you need to see the product work and it's patented and we're at the beginning of this, you can look at the opportunity later. But reason number 6 changed my life. Incredibly changed my life and my family's life, and it's changing a lot of people's lives. So take what you're hearing from your friend very seriously, and you can disbelieve, but suspend your disbelief and try to prove your friend wrong. This is an incredible breakthrough, and as I say, 3 times in 5 minutes, you find people who are hurting, put this on 3 times in 5 minutes, and you watch what happens. Not to 1, 2, or 3, not to 4, 5, or 6. Watch what happens to probably about 9 of them, and you'll know there's something very special here. Thank you so very much.
Okay, now I'm going to turn this over to Doria and let her introduce Marco for us tonight. Doria?
Yes. So, I was intrigued. Marco, and Cindy and I have never met Marco in person, but I was very intrigued because Marco, I believe you were on a corporate, I don't know, once a month they would do a corporate interview and you happened to be on there. And I remember you making a statement saying, that you wanted to make $1 million by the time you were 30. And, that was your goal. But you just kind of shared a little bit about what you were doing to share this technology. So anyway, I'm going to introduce you properly. I just was saying that's, I just kind of, you sparked some interest in me. And so that was just very thankful to have you here on our Zoom. So Marco is, actually, he is in Italy right now. So it's 2 a.m. in the morning. So y'all have to give some applause for him staying awake to be on this Zoom with us this evening. And he's there for a wedding. He's all about, he was raised in New York. You were born and raised in New York, where you currently work as a real estate, and you're a platinum executive in ASEA. You're also a serial entrepreneur who loves building businesses and leveraging social media to help build them. You got your degree from Manhattanville College in business management and marketing with a concentration in digital media, production, and sports studies. He's a huge travel enthusiast and loves to connect with the ASEA family around the world, and enjoys helping each other as well. So I'm going to just ask him some questions here. So Marco, I want you to tell us how this technology came into your life. And how old were you when you started?
What's going on, everybody? Good evening. Yes, this is Marco Ricchiuti from Italy at the moment. So just I had gotten introduced to the company, the technology, when I was 18, actually when I was 17. And my father was going through some health challenges himself, and he had started taking it. And at that point in time, he said to me, you know what, just start taking it. You got nothing else to lose, and you might as well feel healthy in the meanwhile. And so he was going through those health challenges, and he himself was very holistically approached, everything in his life, more or less. So at that point in time, that's kind of when I got introduced to this as a technology, as a product, and then it lent itself into my personal experience with ASEA and how that kind of formulated. So that was that was 10 years ago, more or less, 11, actually, more or less 10, 11 years ago. So yeah, I've been partnered with the company now for about 11 years.
So could you share with us, since you've been with the company since like almost to the very beginning stages, what's the culture like with this company?
It's interesting. A lot of times over these past 11 years, I've had the pleasure of meeting a whole bunch of different people in ASEA. And I got to tell you, it's such a different culture. Prior to ASEA, I had never done any other network marketing companies. I'd never been part of a type of company like this before. And what's interesting is prior to this, my father had been part of some other companies that had some, products that he was utilizing. And the difference between those companies versus this company was quite substantial, because I used to go to those events that he was at one point. And the reason why I bring this up is because we have such a unique culture at ASEA, that for me at least, there's just so much more genuineness out of people, versus not, basically. And I think the greatest part about ASEA, that what I've found, is that everybody wants you to succeed. They want you to be happy and helpful, and we get to work with each other, even though, like, for example, we're not on the same team, right? It doesn't matter. Like, that's the great camaraderie aspect of ASEA that you don't necessarily get to see in other companies. So the culture wise, I think it's such an incredible vibe. And I think also from at least from my perspective, a lot of people who are my age are very focused um, on making a difference. And that's the great part about this culture. We have the ability to make a difference in people's lives, as well as make, an income as part of it too. So yeah, it's I would say culture wise, it's very strong, and people are super, super just generous with their time, and just getting to know each other too. I think it's never about just yourself. It's more so about connecting with others. And I mean, if you've been at any events, which I know you guys have been at, the past events, that's why we go, is the camaraderie, the culture that takes place at those events. So yeah, that's what I would say about culture.
Okay. So, you majored in digital media while you were in school, and some marketing. So how are you spreading the word about ASEA?
Yeah, so a lot of what I do is through social media, through media outlays, more or less. And the reason as to why I found that to be my path was, number one, obviously, because I have a bit more of experience in marketing as my background. But to be honest with you, it really leveraging that background was great, and school is great up to a certain point. Real life is what really gets you where you need to get to, in this type of a business, and in any type of business, realistically, right? And so the way that I've kind of formulated it is, I put more of an emphasis on building up my social media and working through that. And the reason why is because, remember, I had never been part of any other company prior to this. I was only 18 when I had gotten started. So I also don't have the years of friendships and the years of, the people that you get to know, all these, over time, right? So what was the easiest access point for me to find new people, meet new people? Social media. And so that's what I use, and that's what I channel to have conversations, get to know other people. Some of the people that I work with now, I've never even met them before. They're at the other side of the world, and the only reason why I did that was through social media, so it is quite interesting how one can leverage these types of things that we have accessible to us now to help cultivate, making a difference in people's lives, as well as earning a living too.
So you are very successful. Like I said, you're a platinum executive with ASEA, and I understand that you're instrumental in opening Colombia, bringing ASEA to the forefront there. What was that process, and how did that happen?
So that was a very interesting process. I'll tell you this, if you ever want to become a leader, like a real hardcore leader in this company, try opening up a country. It's a very difficult task. No, all to be honest, it was pretty interesting. The way it started was, My father had mentioned or had introduced this product to a customer of his that lived locally, and I had gone with him to her house with her husband that was there, and he was talking to the wife, getting her signed up in ASEA, and I was chatting with the husband, and I had said to him, I was like, I heard a thick accent, and I said, "Where are you from? Like, where are you from?" He's like, "Oh, I'm from Colombia." I said, "Oh, okay." I was like, "That's interesting because right now, at that point in time when we were starting to do all this stuff, ASEA had a program that was launching. You could launch into new markets, and or they would help support that." So I had said, "Hey, you know what? Colombia right now is actually on the map, and I would love to see if we can maybe do something." And he goes and says to us, this is the kicker after the question. He goes and says, "Oh, it's so interesting because my brother just called me last week and had asked me if I knew of any network marketing companies that want to open up in Colombia because I want to be the one to do it." So just to put into perspective, the the interesting part of this is the fact that you ask one simple question, "Where are you from?" And that opens up the gates to a whole other conversation, a whole floodgates to a whole country and a whole market. So I love telling that story because a simple question can lead to a huge impact in people's lives. And that was kind of how it worked. And from a leadership standpoint, I mean, the process and all that kind of good stuff. I mean, getting shipping stuff situated, getting in touch with people, getting information, signing people up. Yeah, it's a whole process. But I will say, I'm so glad that I had the ability to do that because number one, I became the leader that I needed to be at that point in time, 100%. And then number two, I learned the compensation plan like the back of my hand. So I know everything there is to know about the compensation plan, know how to know everything in the virtual office, all that kind of good stuff. So when you get submerged and you're with it every single day and you're doing it consistently, that's kind of what happens. So yeah, that's my story behind behind that front.
I love it. I love it. Okay. So we've been talking a lot about your success in the business. So tell us personally, I mean, what has the product, the technology of Redox done for you? Because you're young and you talk to people and they'll say, I'm young, I don't have any health challenges. So tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, for sure. So basically, it was interesting because when I had first gotten started on the product, my father was like, "Just take it." He was like, "Oh, plug your nose. It's not going to taste good." And I was like, "What do I need to plug my nose for?" I drank it. I was like, "It just tastes kind of like water. That's basically it." And he was like, "Oh, okay, good. Keep going, keep drinking it, whatever." So at that point in time, I was fine. But about a month later, I had started my senior year of, my final year of varsity soccer. And 5 minutes into my first game, I had sprained my ankle horribly. And it was the size of kind of like a softball, basically. And interestingly enough, 5 minutes after I sprained my ankle, my friend in the same game sprained his ankle as well. So it was interesting because we obviously went to the same doctor. He looked it over. The doctor said to me, he was like, "Listen, it's probably going to be 4 to 6 weeks. You're going to probably be out for the season, is what it is. You have a very high ankle sprain, not broken, but a very high ankle sprain. And if anybody knows anything about sprains versus breaks, sometimes it's a bit better to just break versus for it to be sprained." So anyways, it was interesting because then the doctor went on to say to my friend, it'll probably be like a 2 week progress for him because it wasn't as bad of a sprain. So at that point in time, I really got started taking the ASEA. At that time, we also only had ASEA. There was no other products. So we just put it in a spray bottle and then I just sprayed my ankle. And long story short, that 4 to 6 weeks that we're supposed to be, and I was supposed to be out for the season, I ended up turning into 2.5 weeks. And I went back to the doctor and he cleared me to be able to play, which was incredible. And I actually did the throw in for the game that brought us to sectionals because I gave the assist to the guy who shot the ball and got us through to the next round, which was really cool. But the funny part about this is the fact that my friend, you remember how the doctor said it was only going to be 2 weeks, right? Well, he actually didn't even end up going back to play because it still didn't heal fast enough. So I was on ASEA, he was not on ASEA, and the recovery aspect was pretty incredible. So that's my personal experience with ASEA, and it's kind of why I just kept, at that, especially at that point in time, kept going and drinking consistently. And then further along, I've obviously throughout college, and since then, I have not been, luckily, have not been sick at all whatsoever. So, to go through college and you're touching doorknobs, you're here, you're there, whatever, and there's germs everywhere and everybody's sick all the time. I didn't get sick once. So, that was a huge deal for me because I mean, realistically, who wants to be sick? Nobody, right? So for me to be able to have my immune system working at optimal levels, that was key. And we didn't know that at the time. I just knew to take it, and that's what I was doing. So yeah.
I love it. I have one last question, and I'm going to let Cindy. I'm sure she's got some questions for you too. And we don't want to keep you up all night because, it's so early there where you are. But how would you? I'm just thinking about the young people or the young millennials that are out there, and they're like thinking, they're because we got this gig economy, and they're out there. They've got 2 or 3 jobs, and so what would you say to a millennial that's looking at, maybe something like network marketing and they're looking at a product? So why would they choose ASEA to dig their heels into?
Yeah, it's a really good question. And the one thing that I always bring it back to, because people ask me this too, and, for example, like I've in these past 10, 11 years, I've gotten approached by other people for other network marketing companies, right? And the one thing that always I say to people, I'm like, listen, do you have a differentiated product? Do you have something that nobody else has? And every single time they always say yes, but they know for a fact that there's always a duplicate of what they have, right? And you can go online and find it. And that to me is a huge deal. If I'm going to be in a business, I want something that nobody else has because I don't want to compete with anybody else. And so if I were in, the position that, let's say, or if somebody's in the position right now who's listening, who is maybe in their 20s, and they're trying to figure it out, or maybe even younger, you never know, in 30s, whatever. If you're a millennial and you're, first of all, in debt from school, if you're or if you want to travel, if you want to just do what you want to do, I think this is the biggest part of why I love this business and why I love this company, is because number one, get to make an impact in people's lives. Number two, you can do what you want, when you want, and with who you want, right? And then number three, the money is there for the taking. It's just a matter of you wanting to do it and put the effort in. And the cool part about this is that I put in a lot of effort and continue to put in a lot of effort, but I put in a lot of effort 6 years ago, 7 years ago, when I was helping open, let's say, this country, or helping whatever, who, this person and that person. And because I did what I did 5-6 years ago, I'm getting paid for that now, right? And all throughout those years. And the cool part about this is that I can drop what I'm doing in New York, get on a flight, and come to Italy for 5 weeks and not have to worry about anything. You know what I'm saying? So that's the power of this business and this opportunity for anybody who, doesn't even matter if you're just a millennial, anybody who's on this call, whoever wants to achieve whatever you want to achieve. It's a matter of what you're willing to put in to get to where you want to be. And so, just to put into perspective for me, what I wanted and what I needed to put in, at that time, 6 years ago, 7 years ago, when I was helping to bring up this marketing of Colombia for the company, I missed out on certain things like parties and all this stuff to commit to building my business, because I knew, guess what? I'm going to miss those parties then, but guess what? I'm going to be partying now, which is what I'm doing. So, it's just a matter of perception and understanding. Investment then will create now, so yeah.
Awesome. Excellent. Turn it over to you, Cindy.
Okay, Marco, I just have a couple of questions. First one, really quick and easy. So do you have a preferred social media that you use? Which avenue works better for you?
Yeah, so I have two. One is LinkedIn and the other is Instagram. Those are the two that I use the most. I mean, I use Facebook as well, but for building my business, pretty much LinkedIn is the primary focus. And then Instagram, just because I'm always on Instagram. Like that's just, I feel like Instagram is it's the social media that connects everybody because of the photos and it's the visual app, more or less. So that's what I would say. But from a business standpoint, LinkedIn for sure. That's where people in business or people who are looking for something are.
So one more question, and then we can open it up. So do you struggle sometimes going through a dry spell? And if you do, how do you keep yourself motivated? What do you use? What drives you?
Well, I would say everybody has that time period when there's just not enough things happening, I think it's an important part at that point in time. I think it's an important part to just maybe step back for a week and then come back into it the next week, because you don't want to get yourself discouraged. And that's where the issue lies, especially when, let's just say, it's not working for you that week, right? Take a step back and then revisit the next week and go hard again. You know what I'm saying? For me, I think it's more recently I've been on a roll, more or less, in what the people that I'm speaking to, and I keep aligning the next person with the next person with the next person with the next person. So I keep myself up to par, at least with one person. I'm always speaking with at least one person. So I think the best way to kind of combat that is two ways. One is to get in front of people face to face at networking events. That's one way you can do that, just to keep yourself going and just expose yourself. And then number two is social media is an endless amount of people. So you kind of can't run out of people, especially on LinkedIn. I'm going to be doing, I don't know if I'm supposed to tell you guys this, but I'm actually going to be doing a presentation on this at convention. So you'll hear a little bit more about that side of things. Yeah, I mean, it's just endless. It's endless. So yeah.
That's pretty cool. I'm excited to hear that. So I don't have any more. I can open it up. If anyone has a question, raise your hand and unmute and ask Marco your questions. And Dory, you may see some that I'm not seeing from this side.
I just have a comment, do the comment until somebody has a question. So this is from Candy. She's in Texas, and she said, Marco, you are adorable. Wish my grandsons would get your wisdom and inspiration. You give me hope for this younger generation. Thank you.
Thanks, Candy. I appreciate that. Well, listen, you got to get your grandsons to convention. Get them over there. Have them come. We'll meet up. We'll chat.
No one's raising hands. I have one more quick question. So if you're meeting someone in person, what is your spiel? How do you start with your introduction to ASEA?
That's a great question. So my biggest thing is what I always say is less is more. Try to listen to them, because of course we can all speak as long as we want to about ASEA, right? I'm presuming everybody's excited to chat about ASEA. But the big thing is you you're there for them. You have to hear what you can say the right things as long as you listen to what they want to hear. So if they're talking about, oh, this is hurting me. If you didn't listen to them saying that, then you wouldn't have known to talk to them about that particular thing in regards to a SIA. So a lot of times what I found is people jump right in and they're like, yeah, you need to know about this. You need to know about this product. You need to know about all these things because it's going to help you. But if we just took a step back and said, hey, like, for example, the way I approach it is I jump in and be like, let's say I'm in the middle of a conversation and they mention something that I'm like, okay, I can work with that. I can work off of what they're speaking about. That's the way I start conversations. I don't just jump in and be like, hey, you need to know about this product. That's not the way I do it. I don't know how to explain it other than like, I'm not, I am very direct. I'm from New York. I'm very direct, but at the same time, when it comes to these types of conversations, you have to be a little bit less direct and just take a step back because these types of conversations can lead by themselves. And so that's once that conversation is cultivated, depending on the type of conversation, maybe it's somebody who's saying, oh my God, I saw you just went to Spain, or I just saw you went to Italy. Like, how was that? Well, that's a great conversation starter for me because that's something that I developed along my personal brand. That's what I travel is my personal brand, right? So I'll work off of that any day because I'll literally lead with the fact that, hey, yeah, I was there for 5 weeks. I was really enjoying it. And then the next question I'll hear from them is, how did you go for 5 weeks? How is that possible? You see how that just led into the conversation? So, there's a very suave way of having a type of conversation without blatantly saying, hey, here's a SIA, try it. You know what I'm saying? So, and that's the same exact translation that I try to do into social media. You will never catch me putting an ASEA bottle on my social media at all. And that's on purpose because if you're doing this business correctly, you shouldn't have to put that on there. People should want to have a conversation with you based on your what your personal brand is all about or your hobbies. Basically, you want to build your business around your hobbies. That's the way I look at things because people will find affinity with you through your hobbies versus a product, if that makes sense. So hopefully that answers the question.
It did. I appreciate that. It was awesome. Any other questions? Dr. Sides? Yeah.
Yeah. Mhm.
Marco, you are so inspiring. Thank you so much for sharing tonight. I have a question that is 2 parts. What is your deepest passion that tugs at your heartstrings while you're doing this business? And what is the legacy you would like to leave?
All right. So passion wise, to be honest with you, I just really love to travel. That's my passion. It's one of my biggest things. And if anybody knows me on a personal level, or even if you follow me on social media, you see I love going places. I've been to several countries already. And that's kind of what drives me because my goal is to have this business where I'm going to all these different countries to go help support team members, who are in those countries. And like, for example, I think I had one person in Australia several years ago, like 4 years ago, more or less. But I ended up traveling to Australia and meeting with, I don't know if you guys know who she is, but her name is Christina Sword and Mal Sword. I met up with them in Australia because they're just awesome people. And we just had an awesome time. I stayed at their house and it was just great. And that's the type of lifestyle that I want. And that's why I love this type of an opportunity. That's my passion because I love to travel. And guess what? I can meet awesome people doing it. So hopefully that answered the passion part. And then the second part was what? Sorry, I forgot.
What legacy do you want to leave?
Yeah. So for me, the big thing that actually just happened today, and this was a legacy thing, was I actually just got my citizenship for Italy today. Got my email. Yeah, yeah, which is really cool. It's been taking me about 4 years. But the reason why I bring that up is because the legacy that I want to cultivate with ASEA is the fact that when I have kids, they're going to be able to enjoy coming here, coming to Italy, coming to our home, home base more or less, and be able to have that flexibility to be able to travel to maybe to Italy or to another European country or go other places in Asia or wherever. And I think that is something that when I was growing up was a really important part in my life. Coming to Italy was a cultural legacy for my family. So I want to continue that. And that's my legacy. I want to be able to share that with not only with just my, let's say, my children, when I have children, but also with my friends, with people who want to be surrounded by this, right? So that's my legacy.
That's a great response. And I think that's a lesson for all of us on this call. I think that when we become a part of something, we have to have an eternal flame that burns from deep within and that we can express every day and get up and be so excited. And for you to say what you just said, to me, I see that flame is there and it is so bright. So thank you for sharing that.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Any other questions? Joy, do you see any hands?
I don't see any other hands. I was going to look in the chat and see if there's anything in the chat. I don't see anything.
Well, Marco, going to Italy is on my bucket list, so hopefully I'll get there one day.
You gotta come. It's awesome. Go to the South. The South is better.
Oh, is it? Okay.
I probably get a lot of heat from a lot of people for saying that.
What town in particular? Which one?
If you go a little bit south of Naples, past the Amalfi, just below the Amalfi Coast, that's where we're from. And I got to tell you, that's where all the Italians go for vacation. So if you want to be with, the Italians, that's where you would go. But it's just awesome. The food is incredible down here. I mean, the food is incredible in all of Italy, but the food is especially incredible down here. And it's also way less money down here than up north. So it's you can live an incredible lifestyle in southern Italy versus the north, which is a bit more expensive. But yeah, much more low, very chill area down here.
Well, if there are no more questions, we're just going to say, if you've heard anything tonight that piques your attention, or if you yourself have some type of health challenge or know someone you love that has a health challenge and you would like to try this product for 90 days minimal, reach out to the person that sent you to the Zoom. Or if you're like Marco and you have an entrepreneurial spirit and you want to have that work-life balance and be your own boss, as Marco says, and work where you want to, when you want to, and travel, reach out to the person that sent you to the Zoom. Or if you just happened upon it, reach out to one of us as well. So we thank you all for coming. And Marco, we really thank you for your testimony and for spending time tonight with us from across the pond. So I hope the wedding and the family events go very well, but we appreciate you coming. And Doria, you want to introduce who's coming on next week, and then we will close.
Yeah, so for two things, this is Marco has agreed for us to take the recording and put it on our YouTube channel. So that's Redox Nurse Talk on YouTube. So you can find that. We've got probably about 12 other videos there from people that were here on the, our Zoom for the last few months. And then we have Jerry Yerke coming on next Tuesday. So this is our business month. And he's very successful as well. So we look forward to interviewing him. So again, thank you, Marco.
Thanks for you guys. I appreciate y'all, and hope you have an awesome rest of your day, and hopefully see you guys at convention.
Yes, ma'am, sure.
Okay, somewhere I lost the meeting. Can y'all see me?
Yeah, we'll be looking for you.
I
We'll
can
get a big
see
hug from you.
Well, I'm trying to find. Hang on. Can y'all hear me, Doria?
Yes, we can hear
Okay.
you.
I'm joining back in, but for some reason I lost the screen. Now I can't stop the recording. Okay. Let me stop the recording.